your girl CallmeKiah, and I am back again with another exclusive interview. This time I'm sitting down with Santino Corleon.
Yep.
Hello.
How you doing?
Long days, long nights, got no rest now. It's top peeled off down Sunset Road. I paid my dues and I kept my receipts. Remember the days that I barely could eat. All of them nights that I slept on the street. Drove myself crazy trying to make the ends meet. I made a way like I'm par in the sea.
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Don't know, I'm sure you do. Santino is a rapper. You've been rapping for a long time. Long time. Yeah, it's from Cincinnati, so it's only right that he's on my show.
Yep.
If you're new here, you don't know, it's Sangria Sunday, so happy Sangria Sunday. And I give an artist or creative, cheers. I give an artist or creative the chance to write and or draw whatever they want on a white styrofoam cup, and then we reveal it at the beginning of the show. So I'm going to reveal what I put on my cup. I wrote "Express Yourself" with a little silly face, and the reason I wrote that is because that's really all I'm about, is everyone expressing themselves. Like, that's why I started this platform. That's why I also have a poetry night and open mic every Friday at the William Francis Theater. And I just think that that's important. And then on the back, I just wrote CallmeKiah because you should follow me everywhere. Follow me because I'm going to actually be good at social media this year. So it's going to be great. I suck at social media.
I'm starting to get sick of it. I've
been
on it so long.
That it's just over. I'm just like a job. It's crazy. So what did you put on your cup? Yeah.
Well, I just drew this kind of funny little character here, and he turned out to be a little... Looks like he was angry or something, and then I just wrote my name in kind of a graffiti, and then above that I wrote "Peace of Mind," because I think that's what we all searching for. You know what I mean? And I felt like this guy needs some peace of mind himself. So maybe it's like the inner aggression and stuff that I developed and build up over my job and career. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. What's the most frustrating part about being an artist?
When it's the lows, you have really high highs, really low lows. The frustrating part is the low lows because it's not going to last.
Yeah.
It's for a reason. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I like to generally get something out of the low points to where I can use them at the high points. So I'm trying to turn it into a song or into a video or trying to express that outwardly instead of inwardly.
That's good. So that's what I find through interviewing most artists is a lot of the times they use their music as kind of their therapy.
Conduit,
as to kind of express yourself. What is the weirdest thing that inspired a song?
The weirdest thing that inspired a song? That's a good question. I've never been asked that one before.
I tried, thanks.
The first thing that just popped into my head, I got a song called No Baby Mama, and I wrote it 3 weeks, I'll say about 3 months before my now wife told me she was pregnant. So I always say I jinxed myself. And I think there was something going on in my head to where I came to this realization that I was never having kids. And I had convinced myself of that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that I was writing a song, I'm like, well, everybody has kids and I don't have a kid. Yeah. Let me kind of talk about that and put it into a song. And it kind of came out kind of quirky and funny. You know what I'm saying? But I think that inspired that, which inspired God to say, hey, you're about to be a dad.
You thought.
Yeah, so 3 months later, I got the,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's exciting. Boy or girl. Do you feel outside of, obviously, grinding, how do you feel being a father or becoming a father influenced your music?
Musically, I think it influenced me to the point where, so I have a stepdaughter. She's 12. I try not to degrade women in my music as much anymore.
Mm.
I don't say as much. Like, I don't think I did it a lot before.
But now it's like a conscious effort.
It's a conscious thing, and I'm like, it's so weird to me because I'll have the radio on and things will be playing, and my wife's a little more loose with it, with the kids. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you listening to that in front of and I'm the rapper, you know what I'm saying?
Right, so it's like, you would think it would be flipped.
Yeah, you think it would be flipped, so I think that just, I'm more conscious about those type of things as being, a dad, especially with a daughter.
Yeah. That's important. Yeah, I love that. So 2021, we're still like reaching I feel like the peak of a pandemic, and you've been going crazy.
Yeah, I just kept working.
You've been going nuts during the pandemic. Yeah. Tell me about like when the pandemic first started, like what were you like, I don't know what to do, or were you just like, nah, this is it?
It was kind of interesting because I just signed a record deal. Mm-hmm. And I knew about the deal. When you sign a deal, you got to do all the paperwork and lawyers and all that stuff. So I got to the point where like, all right, I'm ready to sign now. Mm-hmm. That was December of 2019. So I signed in January, maybe. February, I got like my first big music placement, and it was a Jeopardy TV ad.
That was one of my questions.
And then maybe a month later, the pandemic happened. So it's like we had all these plans, Then it happened, and I was like, you know what? This is an opportunity. And I, like I said before, I try to take the negative times and use it as an opportunity. Yeah. So I thought to myself, well, I could really kind of go in on everything I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? Time. Yeah, because I got the time, you know what I'm saying? And then without touring, like I tour a lot. So not been touring this year, it just gave me so much more time. But I've been traveling, you know what I mean? For the first month or two of it, I was staying in and doing everything they wanted you to do. I mean, I always been doing everything they wanted you to do. I'm not an anti-masker or anything like that. But once they was like, it's okay to travel, I start traveling back and forth from LA, you know what I'm saying? Because I split time there. I mean, I'm actually moving there full-time Thursday, but I've been splitting time there the entire time. Mm-hmm. So it just inspired me to go harder. I felt like it was an opportunity to, see how my mind works. I'm like, well, this is going to make a lot of people quit. Yeah. So it's going to unclog the pipeline. When the world opens back up, it's going to be a great concert boom. It's going to be, you look at it now, last night downtown, it was crazy. People are just so sick of being inside. So when shows and stuff start, it's going to be like a renaissance. Yeah. So I want to be ready for that. So in this time, I've just been honing in, like training it almost. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's dope. But we talked about your Jeopardy placement. Yep. Congratulations. That's a huge deal. It was. Where were you when you found out that you got a Jeopardy placement? Well, I know where I was when I found out about the placement. And I want to say it's kind of two parts of that story. Okay. When I first found out, I didn't know it was Jeopardy. They just say, yo, you got ABC just picked up one of your songs. We don't know what it's for. That's what the lady told me. I'm like, that's weird. But that was on New Year's Eve, 2019, going into 2020. I was leaving a weed spot. We were driving home. The phone rings. And then I get that. And they're like, yo, it's an ABC show. So me and my business partner, I get to the crib. I'm like, yo, the ABC just picked up a song. We don't know what show it is. So we go on ABC's website. We're like looking at the shows. Like, what could it be? We never thought Jeopardy. So I think I got that call a week later or so. And they're like, yeah, it's Jeopardy. And I'm like, Jeopardy? What the hell are they using my music for? And they're like, no, the song was called GOAT. Yeah. So it was for, they were doing a greatest of all time tournament. So they used my song as kind of like the theme for the commercials for the tournament. That's you know what I'm saying? Exciting. So it was like, I never would have thought that one. You know what I'm saying? So that was cool. And then to hear Alex Trebek and my voice kind of intertwined with each other. And God bless the dead because he passed away at the end of the year. Yeah, he did. So it was like, yo, it would have been different had it been Jeopardy and Alex Trebek wasn't there. Yeah. So I'm kind of blessed up. You know what I mean? That was iconic. Yep. That is like a history book moment. Yep. It was That's crazy. You've had like a lot of big milestones. You've worked with a lot of people. Yep. I used to tour with Mac Miller. I saw that on your Facebook page. Yep. I was like,
whoa, like before Mac was like tatted and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
We met him when he was 18. He was still a kid.
Insane. Like, and what's crazy is when he, like, I've always, like, I'm a huge music buff, and of course, like, when he was alive, like, I listened to his music and I loved his music, but I did not realize the impact he had on my life until he, like, I cried for days, and I was like, I didn't even think I, like,
it still affects
connected to him, like, in that way. Like, that's so insane.
He taught me a lot, directly and indirectly, and I've been blessed to get to tell him that. You know what I'm saying? And, like, I'm like, yo, like, because that kid never, if you had, I'm actually getting goosebumps thinking about it. If you didn't know him, and you didn't know he was famous, you wouldn't have known he was famous. So he taught me a lot about humility, and in my mind, being at the time, and then me being naive to the whole fame thing, because you think in your head, oh, when I get on, it's going to be like this. You know what I'm saying? But then when you get to actually sit back and watch that go play out, it's even crazier because you start to realize, like, wait a minute, this ain't all it's cracked up to be. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he hid that well. He hid that depression. He hid that very well. Like, you would have never known unless you were, you know, I mean, he would have told me. We weren't intimate in that sense, you know what I'm saying? But I'm sure he's had those discussions. He had those discussions with people closer to him, but I never saw that, you know what I'm saying? And what it taught me is just, like, one particular story. We were on the Blue Slide Park tour, and we were in Indianapolis. And usually after a show, the bus stays in the parking lot until we leave, like, early that morning, depending on how far you got to go to the next city. So we just hang out on the bus all night party, you know what I mean? So everybody's left, so the parking lot's empty. I'm on one bus. There's two buses. So I get off a bus, and there's two guys standing out the bus. They had to be in high school at the time. They were. I found out later. Yeah. So I'm like, you guys all right? You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to them like, they're like, one of them says, my sister's on the bus. I'm like, oh shit. I mean, you can guess what's going on.
Yeah,
on the bus.
awkward.
I'm like, and then I'm in my head, I'm like, who would bring their little brother out
and
leave him outside the bus like you doing God knows what on the bus?
Like, at least give him the keys to the car.
Right, something. You know what I mean? Like, send him home, you know? So I start feeling bad. I'm like, are you waiting on your sister? And they're like, yeah. So they were like, well, they thought Mac was on that bus, but he wasn't. And I was like, they're like, yo, is Mac going to come off the bus? And he would, usually we would, because we would just jump back and forth the bus, and nobody's in the parking lot, so sometimes we would be hanging in the parking lot something like that.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it don't matter. So I'm like, he might, I don't know, like, I'm not going to tell him, you know what I'm saying? So I get on the other bus, and I'm like, Mac, his fan's still out there. And he's like, what? Like, because it's like, you know what I mean? He's done turned it off at
because
now.
it's
You know
done.
what I'm saying? Like,
We're done.
The show's over and he's
we're
done
chilling.
everything.
Yeah.
He's like, what? And this was the night, as a matter of fact, he hit 1 million followers on Twitter because I remember sitting next to him and he nudges me. He's on his laptop and he's like, look. And I'm like, what are we looking at? He's like, I just hit 1 million followers on Twitter. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. So I remember that vividly. So I get on the bus and I'm like, dude, this is two dudes outside, like, waiting on their sister, and their sister's on another bus. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, and then they asked me to ask you to come out for a pic. I didn't tell him you would or anything. He was like, they want a picture? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, man, I gotta go now. Like, that right there was like, because in my mind, I wouldn't have got off that bus at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm Mac Miller in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm Mac Miller. I wouldn't have got off the bus. But then when he taught me something in that moment, like, oh, this dude is, like, he's genuine with this. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he gets off the bus, he takes a picture. You know what I mean? I'm friends with those dudes now. And I've been friends with them since because I'm the reason they got a picture with Mac Miller. You know what I'm saying? So we've been friends ever since. One of them is a sports agent now. He was in high school, then now he's a sports agent. So that just taught me humility. And no matter how big you get, that it doesn't matter. None of that shit matters. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Outside of Mac Miller, who would you say is the most influential, famous person that you've met?
I tell another story about Kid Cudi. Okay. And we were at, it was me and DJ Clockwork, who was Mac's DJ, as a matter of fact. And Clock was DJing a after party for Kid Cudi and Chip the Ripper. And I was there. It was at this sushi restaurant right across the one I was talking
you was just talking. Wow, crazy.
It was really at this sushi. That's serendipitous. So we're there, and then Cudi's road manager at the time he does his job very well. So Cudi he was in a different space in his life than like with the drugs and stuff like that. So he kind of had rules. Like yo, don't, and his road manager comes in and kind of briefs everybody before he comes into the room, which I used to find odd until I became more
and
an artist and
it's
realized
important.
what they're doing. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
important.
So it's like, yo, don't, which I would never get to this point, but he's like, don't talk to him, don't look at him, don't make eye contact, don't ask him questions. Who the fuck does this guy think he is? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So whatever. And then I'm like, he comes in, so the first thing he does, and I'm sitting in a spot here, and there's these girls probably sitting right where the Spider-Man thing is, but he has to walk through here. So I kind of move my legs so he can get through. I'm not going to say nothing to him, I just got briefed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the girls, the girls move their legs. He gets to about right here, he stops. He turns around, just like this, and he taps. He's like, he looks at me and goes, did they try to trip me? Talking about the girls. I think he's playing. So I'm like, yeah. Yeah, they trying to trip me.
Mm-hmm.
Looks at the security, man, get them the fuck out of here. And kicks the girls out. They were the baddest bitches in the room. I said, he don't give a fuck. Let me be like, I'm like this the whole time. Like, I'm kicked out of this room, you know what I'm saying? And be embarrassed. So probably about an hour later, hour and a half, he's wet at this point. He's been drinking. It's a sushi restaurant, so they got this sushi spread. We're in like this VIP area. So it's like a private party, you know what I'm saying? He's sitting at the table eating sushi, and you know, he's like by himself, and you know you're just in a place and you're just kind of scanning the room?
Yeah, just like
I'm like scanning the room, I turn around, and we make eye contact, and I'm like, oh, fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, come here, man. I'm like, oh, who, me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck does he want? And I don't want to kicked
out,
my ass
right.
out of here. Like, I'm like, what's up, man? He's like, you ever ate sushi before? Oh, and at the time, I ate it once. So I'm like once? He's like, sit down, man. I'll tell you. And he's like telling me all the different sushi. This is California roll, this whoop-de-whoop. And the whole time, he's just pouring Grey Goose in my glass. We get to talking for 45 minutes. We talking about life, music. He tells me, you can do anything you want in this world. Trust me. He's like, take it from me. That has stuck with me forever. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, Kid Cudi just told me I can do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to believe him. You know what I'm saying? So his road manager comes in and sees me talking to him. Freaks the fuck out. Hey, ooh, and Cudi's like, no, he's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, like, Kid Cudi just
told you.
Yeah, like,
cool.
he's like,
yeah.
Oh, he's cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that was a real crazy night.
You're an official cool kid, and Kid Cudi said
Exactly,
it. Like,
yep.
I think taking a switch, you have lived in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
You've lived in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
You're now about to live in LA.
Second time.
Like, really?
Yeah. Just a nomad. I've been bouncing coast to coast since I was 19.
That's insane. So, where has been your favorite place to live so far, and why?
LA is my favorite place to live.
Really?
Yeah, I like the atmosphere. Palm trees, sunshine, and legal weed. You know what I'm saying? And gorgeous women. So I love it there. The implants that are there, not so much.
Yeah.
But my friends are all from LA.
Oh, wow.
So I don't have to really worry about that. I get to see the real LA, you know, real Los Angelinos, like, and they show me, you know, they're not like, all the implants are for people, you know, I'm an implant, so, you know, so it can get kind of, you know, fake. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, oh, what do you do? All that crap.
Poser
You know what I'm saying?
stuff,
So so that part I don't like about LA, so I always say, if you took those people out of LA and put New Yorkers in there, LA would be the best place on the planet.
Yeah.
I love pulling me elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
and
saying?
you gotta do it. You gotta
and
go.
I've known that feeling before from being in New York.
Yeah.
And the people that I met in New York are the people I work with now in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known them for 20 years.
Oh.
So
you gotta go.
Yeah,
you only get
go.
one life.
Yeah.
And when we get 90, if we're blessed to get 90 to 100 years old, all you have is like your memories and the things. And do you want to sit there and be like, dang?
Right.
I
They
wonder.
say that too. If you like look up what people say, you know, on their deathbeds, and it's not what they did, it's what they didn't do. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
it is.
And especially, I'm 39.
Exactly.
So, and a lot of people are always like, "Hey, 39." Like,
that shocked me. I'm not gonna lie. When I read that article on the Inquirer about
yeah,
you.
a lot of people don't really.
And
Not that I don't
like,
talk about it, but people get shocked. Like,
I was like,
39?
you're third. Like, I was like, what? Like, I knew that you weren't like 20 something, but I was like, wow.
I'll be 40 this year.
That's insane.
Yeah. And
What's your sign?
Scorpio.
Huh.
So I got a lot of friends. You know, I'm married now.
Congrats.
Thank you, but you know, I did that later on in life. You know what I'm saying? So I have a lot of friends or people in general my age who kind of done that, and I kind of see them like miserable now. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's kind of because they hit their ceiling a long time ago. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I never kind of bought into that whole wife and kids. And I mean, it's awesome.
It's
Don't get me wrong.
beautiful, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, but I never bought into it on the early side. Like, I'm just going to go live my best life. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have my first child until I was 30. I was 34 I turned 35 like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, you're almost 35.
So, you know what I mean? I lived a bunch of life before. So now it's more about like I'm in a spot where I feel like this the best moments of my life are really about to begin. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm more mature to be able to enjoy my success more because my problem now is like I don't soak it all in, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, like for instance, that article that came out, I'm like, oh, cool. I'm on to the next thing. You know what I mean? Everybody still hit me up about the article. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's cool.
But you're moving forward,
moving forward, you know?
It's like, and what's crazy is I'm 27, so I'm not even, you know what I'm saying, up there. But it dawned on me, I'm like, yo, like, I'm about to be, that's crazy.
And I tell people,
nobody talks about that.
Got all the time in the world.
So
Society puts all this pressure on you to
figure it out.
I remember I said, I'm going to stop music at 30 if I'm not on. I start getting on at 27, 28, 29. And I'm like, oh, God's comedian. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you want to get
you think you're funny.
You funny. You know what I'm
he
saying?
Is funny.
Yeah, God's definitely a comedian. And
he
like,
is.
if I'm not on rapping about 30, I'm done. 29, everything started happening. I'm like, oh, you goofy, you're funny, man.
Yep.
So
it was
and
like
you got all the time in the world. 27, I think back like 27, I was nowhere near the mindset of doing anything that. It was the beginning of this, but. Where the beginning of where I started taking it serious. You know what I'm saying?
And that was kind of, that's where I'm at. It was like, I love this. Like, this is what I love to do. And it was like, once I turned 26, I was like, okay, if I continue to treat this like a hobby, it will forever be a hobby. So I have to treat this like I treat work. Like, I have to, you know what I'm saying, take it seriously and see if I can, like, really, like, make a difference. And
well, you already are, though. That's what you
and that's the crazy part, too, is, like, it hasn't really hit me yet. Like, I still get, like, shocked. Like, I'll walk into a room, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, you're CallmeKiah. And I'll be like,
I'm still having a meeting today. You never get used to that.
I never get used to that. Like, the fact that you hit me up, I was like...
No, I'm always watching. That's what I love what you're doing.
I was like... Oh.
You interview some of the people I love. Like Tori,
dope.
I just had Tori in the studio.
Love her.
I love Papa Gora. He's like, I'm a big fan of Papa.
He is phenomenal.
Yeah,
And we have the same birthday.
Wow,
me and Papa Gora.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's how we, like, kind of connected. It was, like, a couple of years ago. We were at a show. And we were just all, like, we had all said that we were Leos. We had all, like, come to the terms that we're Leos. And then I was like, you know, I never met nobody with my birthday. My birthday is August 21st. Everyone's always, like, the 19th, the 22nd. No way! Are you kidding me? Whoa!
My dad's a 16th. He's a 19th.
That's insane. So, yes, you see what I mean? Yeah. So, everyone's always the 19th, the 22nd. No one's ever the 21st. And Papa Gore's like, I'm the 21st. I was like...
Yeah, I love Papa, man.
Love him. Phenomenal. Shout out Papa Gora.
Shout out Papa.
He's
dope. And I'll comment under his Instagram. He's like, dude, a legend. I'm like, dude, stop. Like, dude, I'm a fan of you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Isn't that
I
crazy?
embrace that stuff. It's kind of weird for me, but I've been doing this so long, I understand it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've touched a lot of generations with this music shit, from having fans that are in high school still to having fans that are my age.
Yeah.
You can look at some of my first music videos and see.
It's awful. My first review shows, like, they were called The Collective, dope title, were an hour long.
Too long.
Why?
Right.
Why were they an hour long?
You know what I'm
saying? You know what I mean? But it's just like, so you got to keep it going.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely the first one to bring cameras around.
Because I've noticed that. Like, it was crazy. I was like, where did that come from? And it was like a summer. Like, everyone just started like,
The next summer, I want to say it was 09 when I really was doing it, 08, 09. And then the next summer,
that makes sense because it was in high school.
I was doing shows with Self Diploma at the time, and they didn't even...
I missed them.
They had a cameraman, Scat B, but they didn't have a video, dude.
No, they didn't.
And I always used to see their stuff like, oh, this looks like...
It would be like camera stuff.
Or
cell phones, I said camera.
No, it wasn't even cell phones. Scav had a real camera. But, I mean, like, when they would throw parties, they'd Scav would take the pictures, and then they'd release them online. And I always see them like, oh, I need to be there. So then what I would do is Scav, shout out to Scav, I tell him this to this day. I say, Scav, you made me cool because what I would do is go to the self-deployment party to make sure he took my picture.
Yeah.
Because I know it's going to be online.
Because you know it's going to get...
Now you start branding yourself into people's minds. Oh,
smart.
I know this guy from somewhere. I've seen this guy from somewhere. Oh, you see me.
You're smart.
Pictures. You know what I'm saying? So
You're very business savvy.
But it's all about accident. Honestly, I didn't realize I was doing it.
Like, I was reading up on you, and, like, I'll cut this out if you want me to.
No,
but, like, I thought that it was, like, I was, like, what let me know how your brain works was, I was, like, I was researching you, and I realized that you signed to 83 Sound under Santino. But you signed yourself
so they can't
as Santino Corleon
to my own label.
And to your own freak. I was like,
glad you caught that knowledge.
Dude's a genius.
Really
I was like, dude's a genius. I was like, that was smart. That's a play. Yep. I was like,
and I own the
smart.
Publishing, all my portion of the publishing on 83 shit.
I was like, that was, when I read that, I was like.
And that's just because I work
smart
with
man.
dudes who ain't trying to fuck me over. You know what I'm saying? They're artists too, so they know, you know, they dealt with these big labels and shit and how shicey it can be. So they're not in the business of shicing me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm good. Lucky to work with people like that because the music business is cutthroat as fuck.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I tell people all the time, people like, your phone might be ringing now, but do one thing that rubs somebody the wrong way, that phone gonna stop ringing and nobody gonna give you an explanation as to why.
Look at Kevin Hart.
And nobody gonna give you an explanation as to why. You know what I'm saying?
Let's take a break from the questions. I'm gonna jump into this photobomb segment. Photobomb, if you're new here, is a segment where I find 3 random photos on the internet, and you have to caption and or explain them.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Photobomb number 1 is loaded.
That is outside Mitch Recording Studios in Los Angeles.
What is happening?
I'm working. Oh, you can't smoke inside that studio, and I was in was that a 12-hour session or 8 hour? It's an 8-hour session, and that was like my first smoke break, and I was out talking to my video guy at the time, and a photographer called me.
Look at you with your 83 chain on, manifesting. Didn't even know it. That's crazy.
No, I was signed by then.
Oh, okay. Photobomb number 2.
What the hell am I doing?
What is that?
Somewhere. Wait, I'm in Brooklyn. That's my people's house in Brooklyn. And I used to sleep on that couch. Yeah, in Brooklyn. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I know exactly that time period that is too. That's around the same time period I started talking to my wife, because I started talking to my wife when I was still in New York on Twitter.
Oh, really? You met your wife on Twitter?
Yeah.
Shout out Twitter.
Shout out Twitter, yeah.
Twitter is fire. Caption this photo.
No sleep till Brooklyn.
Fire.
You show them on the show, right?
Yes, they see everything. Yes. Photobomb number 3.
Okay, I remember this time period, and this time period is when I was clubbing a lot. I was out 5 nights a week at a party or at a club.
With your
somewhere.
5 panel on.
Yes, so I don't know. That post just tells you I was drunk as shit. I really don't even drink anymore.
Really, what is
But I was just drunk, like, yeah. I definitely was off the goose tin. I drank a lot of Grey Goose in that time period, to which I can't even do it anymore.
You can't do it.
I can't even look at it. It makes me nauseous. I used to drink it out the bottle. Like, my wife's like, you were fun when you drank Grey Goose. Like, yeah, but I get sick now doing it.
This is what happens when you drink Grey Goose.
I don't even know who that dude is next to me. I don't. I hope he doesn't watch it that I'm supposed to.
You know it's funny.
That happens a lot too. I'll introduce myself to people and they're like, dude, I know you. Like, we hung out before. I'm like, oh shit, dude. And then I'm a stoner, so I always use that to my mom. I'm a pothead rapper, bro. I'm sorry. Like, I meet a lot of people.
Speaking of all of your pictures, I can't talk about the fact that you post so many pictures and not talk about all of the clothing that you post.
Yep.
Your clothing is crazy.
And that all happened on accident.
That's what I was about to ask you is how did you get into making clothes?
Well, I've always wanted to. I've done merch, you know what I mean, especially touring. But it was always, we gotta go out on the road.
This is definitely deeper than that. This is like a line.
Huh?
This is like a line at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, I always did merch on tour and stuff, but then it is like a line. You're right. So that's how it started. It was like, I ain't touring. I was like, well, my wife's friend had a Cricut or something. She was like, and I just got a new logo. And my wife's like, you need to do this. And I'm like, I need to get a new logo before I even think about that stuff. I was like, that's down the line. That was probably last year or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a new logo. And her friend's like, I can make you some T-shirts. And she just made 2 T-shirts, a black one and a white one. And I posted them. People started hitting me up like, how much? I'm like, oh, I'm not going to pass up this money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my guy who has done my merch in the past, I hit him up because he got a T-shirt print shop. And he does all that stuff. And I'm like, yo, you know, I start running like, yo, we need, sorry.
You're okay.
I need to start doing clothes and merch and shit again. He's like, you know, we came into a deal and we figured out a little system. And it just took off, like, and that was like 4 months ago, 5 months ago. And it's to the point now, it's a fucking clothing line.
Yeah,
it's a
it's
full-time
pretty
job.
saucy, dude.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It's a job now. Like if I'm not in the studio, I'm in the print shop.
Like he makes kids' clothes.
I make kids' clothes. I make
women's
clothes, all of that.
Dudes' clothes.
All of that.
You have been working crazy with the clothes. What's coming up with the music?
Music. I'm dropping 2 albums. I don't want to say this year. It was gonna be this year. I was gonna drop mine on my own label in the spring, but I had got done with it. And then I was listening to it. I'm like, it's missing something. And I was talking to my manager, and out of the blue one day, he goes, yo, I think your album's missing something. And I had already come to that realization. I didn't talk to him about it. So I'm like, yo, I'm glad you said that, because I'm like, yo, I'm going to say what I think is missing, and you tell me what you think is missing. And when I said what I thought it was missing, he was like, that's exactly what I was going to say. So I was like, all right, we got to go back in and go back to the drawing board. Not really the drawing board,
but
we're not starting from scratch.
Yeah.
So all I did was I wrote another song to an M80 beat. Shout out M80. Mm-hmm. So I added that record, and then I took a record that I recorded from that same day as that in LA, and I fell out with the producer because he just went about his business. So I'm like, I'm not gonna get this guy to look anymore because if you can't be about your business, it's just gonna make me look bad.
Exactly.
So I'm not gonna scrap the record. I'll just find another beat for it and re-record it. I met this kid on Twitter. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. He's from Russia.
Love it.
He starts sending me a bunch of beats. I'm like, oh, this fits. So I re-record the record. Way better than the first one.
Love it.
So from those 2 records, it just changed the entire dynamic of what I had already thought was done for the album. So I'm like in the point now where I'm just tightening the nuts and bolts.
Mm-hmm. No. What is your favorite song by you?
It depends on what day it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? One of my all-time favorites is one on a Cincinnati album called Ashtrays and Blunt Roaches. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I wrote that song on acid. And like, the song is called Ashtrays and Blunt Roaches. Because that's the first line of the song. Ashtrays and Blunt Roaches. Yeah. This shit feels just like a roller coaster. I'm just describing what I was feeling as I took the acid, and that's the first thing I looked at was an ashtray full of blunt roaches. I sit there and smoke, and then I just turned it into a song. So that was an acid trip. And that song, like, if you listen to it, it kind of sounds like an acid trip. So that's what that was. So that's one of my all-time favorites. Right now, stuff that's on the album we
can't talk about.
I mean, we could talk about it.
Well, yeah, it's not going to matter. Yeah. Like, so, I'm going to ask you, I got a speed round. I got, maybe 2 more questions. Okay. I'll get you out of here.
That's cool.
Okay? Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
Tupac or Biggie?
Biggie.
TDE or Dreamville?
TDE.
Spring or fall?
Spring.
Wings or fried chicken?
Wings.
Ass or titties?
Ooh,
ass or titties? Hats or Scullies?
Hats.
Jeans or sweats?
I wear a Scully. Sweats.
Long hair or short hair?
Long hair.
East Coast, West Coast?
Oh, that's a tough one,
East
man.
Coast, West Coast. West Coast. Easy enough. Outside of, content, obviously, what would you say would be the biggest difference between your music now and your music 10 years ago?
Maturity. My writing is way more crazier and way more in depth. Before, I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I can do this. Ooh. I'm going to put a lot of partying back then. You know what I'm saying? And kind of getting known. You know what I'm saying? And being known around the city. So I didn't focus as much on the music as I should have. That's my hindsight regret. But maturity and just my brother calls me a Swiss Army knife. Because I can't really write anything. R&B, trap music, hip hop. You know what I'm saying? That's what got me a deal. Because I write and just the maturity for real.
Dope. what was the, I guess, either funniest or strangest, like, influence you've had over someone?
That one's one. A lot of money. Oh, so I'll get people I went to school with who I don't even talk to anymore, who I haven't talked to since school. They'll message me, or sometimes call me online on Facebook.
That's weird.
Don't ever do that.
Don't call people on Messenger.
I hate it. I won't answer.
It's so strange.
I won't answer at all. I don't care what I'm doing. I'll answer my phone if you call.
My phone, but don't call. Don't.
I'll go back to that. But another thing I hate is when people like I don't really talk to or don't really know. They know who I am, and I'm not saying that to say I'm better than anyone, but they know who I am. I don't know who they are, and they'll hit me like, "Hey, what's your number? I want to ask you something real quick, dude. Ask me right here. Like,
why do you need my number?
What do you need my number for?
Yeah,
like, you can ask me right now.
Like, just like you messaged me.
Right?
Like,
No, I'm not giving you my number. Usually, like, I just won't even answer you after that. Like,
that's like the weird people who text me and say, "Call me." Like,
yeah. I do that, but that's because I might know you're busy.
Because if you think I'm in the middle of something,
call me when you're done, basically.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Call me.
Right.
But like,
the other stuff is kind of strange.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but the influence I'll get people from my age, where they're like, or I'll see them, and they're like, "Hey, my little cousin listens to you, and they don't believe we grew up together or we went to school," and then they want me to call the little cousin. Or take a picture.
No, they don't.
Which is cool. I've done it.
The picture's cool.
I've done it already.
Don't have me call
Hold on. I'm going to put it on the phone. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Yes, it's Santino. Yes, I know them. We went to school together. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was telling me a lot of times, like, okay, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, exactly,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
It was so weird. Like, my little cousin don't believe I know you. And then they freaked the little cousin fans out. You know what I'm saying? Which I expect. Not expect, but it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, they really don't believe, like,
they really are like, nah, you don't.
They've only seen me as this rapper.
Exactly.
You know
they don't know you as a person versus their parents. High five.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
If they don't follow you, where can they follow you?
Everywhere. At Santino Corleon on all platforms, except Twitch. Twitch, I'm at Santino Corleon 83. I do a Twitch show every Tuesday and Thursdays.
I saw that.
8 p.m. to 10 p.m. I also be starting to stream on Live It too soon.
Ooh.
I'll be doing that out in LA. So
nice.
Yeah. All digital streaming platforms.
Yes. Thank you. Well, make sure you follow Santino. Thank you so much for blessing me before you left the city.
Thank you.
And yes. Awesome. Yay. So make sure you follow him. As always, I am your girl, CallmeKiah, and it is peace, love, and hip hop.